So the impact of racialized socialization. So just a very quick summary. We've been talking about the history of race. The history of race is a social construct, which means it was made up, right? And originally it was made up in order to justify slavery. The slavery that was done by Europeans. At the time, it was mainly the Portuguese and the Spaniards. And to justify the subjection of another human being to slave work, this idea of race, to separate there was a white and a black, and one was superior, one was inferior. One was fully human, one was less than human, was created. And then later on in the United States, Nathaniel Bacon, through the Bacon, after they quelled the Bacon rebellion, in order for white landowners to secure both their wealth and to make sure that other rebellions did not occur, they adopted that idea of race and created the system of race here in America. And so this whole idea about race, again, was socially created. Before the institution of race was created, people was divided, but they were identified by either their religion. You know, I'm a Puritan. You know, I'm a Baptist. I'm a Catholic. You know, I'm Jewish. Or they were identified by economics. You know, I'm wealthy. I'm a wealthy landowner. You know, I'm a peasant. You know, I'm an indentured servant. And it wasn't until this whole idea of race was created where people divided by skin color. And then not only was that system created, but then presidents such as Thomas Jefferson and Woodrow Wilson perpetrated this idea of white superiority and black inferiority by having racist showings in the White House and writing racist commentaries, and these things spread throughout the world. And there was also as we talked about before, the 1904 St. Louis World Fair that brought millions of people to the United States, where the idea of white superiority was again used to socialize people to believe that other cultures were uncivilized. They needed whites to give them civilization and to give them religion and to give them purpose, which justified both, you know, the enslavement of the Africans, the treatment of the Native Americans, and the colonization of other countries. So in order to get people, however, to buy into the system, this socialized idea had to be occurred, right? People had to be socialized to believe negative stereotypes about other cultures in order to go along with it, especially people that from a religious background, right? And so people bought into the lie. They bought into the lie of race. And so once again, race was a story created to separate the white indentured servants and the black Africans, to preserve the wealth and power of the white male landowners, and to give some status to the poor whites, because otherwise the indentured servants wasn't going to buy into the system unless they got something out of it. People since then has been socialized to hate blackness. Now, somebody might say, well, that's a very strong statement. But when we look through our history and how Black people has been displayed in our media, stories, books, and public displays, that is the reality, that is true. When I think about growing up and watching Cops, right? Even though, you know, people of all races committed crimes, the show predominantly showed people in a minority community, and especially Black people, committing atrocious crimes, getting arrested, being violent, not cooperating with the police. And so it in some people's mind, it not only vilified Black people, but it also criminalized them, okay? This is what I call the color of fear. Now, once again, we've been socialized to hate Blackness. Think about our language, okay? So think about our language. Whoever's seen an angel, right? I'm a very spiritual person, but I haven't seen an angel in my life, right? However, if I was asked to draw an angel, guess what color I would color that angel? So let me ask you this. If someone told you as a child, or maybe as an adult, to depict evil or to cover something that was evil, what color would you choose, honestly? Right? So in our language and in our culture, Blackness is often denoted to be bad or evil, right? Think about a black cat. Why is a black cat bad luck? Why isn't a white cat bad luck? Think about in movies, when they're showing someone that is good, someone that is pure, or someone of higher status, what color are they wearing? But they're showing someone that is evil, mean, someone that is of lower status, what colors are they wearing?
I always think about like when I was little, like being told like, oh, it's just a little white lie. That was also something that I remember from when I was little.
Yep, and which makes it okay, right? Because it's a little
white lie, so it's okay.
Yep, and then villains from Disney on, you know, Disney and beyond. The villain often wears black. So Blackness, you may say, well, you know what? You kind of read into to that. All of this stuff goes into our subconscious, right? So Blackness is feared. Like when police say, you know, if somebody was unarmed and they got shot, and doing the interviews, and they say, well, why did you shoot this person when they wasn't unarmed? A lot of people say, police say, well, I was threatened. And I honestly believe that they felt threatened because they were socialized to fear Blackness. And I don't expect people to agree with that. I'm just sharing with you my perspective. But if you look at our language, if you look at those other things that I talked to you about, all of those things goes into your subconscious.